So now we know what the future of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp will be. Back in August, Nintendo revealed they were going to be shutting down the online functionality of Pocket Camp and turn it into an offline paid-for app. This past week, Nintendo finally announced what the new app was going to look like, and I'll be honest, I'm not mad about it. So let's take a look at what the new iteration of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp will be and talk about why this is amazing for the community. If you're new around here, hi, my name is Twilight. I'm a cozy gaming content creator who is slightly obsessed with all things Animal Crossing. I make tips and tricks videos, speed builds, and talk about Animal Crossing news and rumours. If that's your vibe, please do consider subscribing for more videos like this where we talk about the future of the Animal Crossing franchise. Let's start with why Nintendo is finally ending online functionality for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, because once you understand this, the changes that are coming for the new version of the app will make much more sense. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp has been out about 7 years now, which is a long time to have support in place for a game. The last time we had any sort of sales data from Nintendo, it had about 62 million total downloads, which is a lot, and it shows there's a strong player base who wants to be able to play Animal Crossing on mobile. However, given the last time we had any reports of downloads or sales was in 2020, it's fair to say that the player base for Pocket Camp is probably not as high as it once was. Whilst there will be a large number of players who still want to play Pocket Camp every day, the reality is that with a diminishing player base comes fewer microtransactions and less money for Nintendo overall. The cost of keeping the online servers going for a game which requires an online connection to play is astronomical, and to not have enough revenue coming in to mitigate those costs means that mobile apps are prone to shutting down if they require an online connection. The problem for Nintendo is that Animal Crossing is a franchise which people adore. You can easily sink hundreds, if not thousands of hours into the world to build relationships with your campers and designing your cabin, campsite, and camper into the perfect spaces for you. Players are passionate about their save files, and where Pocket Camp is a mobile game, there was always going to be the possibility of losing that save. So Nintendo has two choices when it comes to what they do with Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. They can either turn off the app completely and make it go dark, which will result in everyone losing everything, or they can make a new version which allows people to play offline. Guess which one Nintendo decided to do? As of the 28th of November 2024, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp will no longer be available and you'll no longer be able to play online. But on the 3rd of December, a new version of Pocket Camp is launching called Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete. It will be launched at $9.99 as an introductory price, and as of the end of January 2025, it will increase to $19.99. Pre-orders are already open for Pocket Camp Complete, and if you are a Pocket Camp player and you want to continue playing the game when the online functionality is removed, it's worth checking out what the new app is. This may sound like it's a bad thing with Nintendo going from a free-to-play model to something that you have to pay for, but I don't actually think it's the worst thing in the world. And if you want to find out why I don't think paying for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is the worst thing that you could be doing, you'll have to stick around to the end of the video. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete is essentially the exact same game as Pocket Camp, with some tweaks in how it works to allow it to continue to run without needing to have an internet connection. By and large, everything you could do before will still be possible to do in the new app. You'll still be able to craft furniture, build relationships with your campers, and decorate the spaces that you could before. The reveal trailer was very clear in saying that anything that is core gameplay will not change. But what is amazing is that the seasonal events Pocket Camp is known for will continue at about the same rate as they were before, and they'll run on a 4-year cycle. That may seem like a long cycle for events, particularly when you compare it to mainline Animal Crossing games which host events in a yearly cycle. But trust me, having recently picked up Animal Crossing Pocket Camp again and trying it out for the first time in years, there's a lot of seasonal events and items to collect, so there's a lot of content for anyone who hasn't tried it for a while that will keep you playing the game for a really long time. So if you're looking for a fresher way to play Animal Crossing and you may have had burnout from Animal Crossing New Horizons, it's worth taking a look at Pocket Camp. The biggest thing that is important with the two apps that a lot of players are really pleased to see is that you can transfer your current save file from Animal Crossing Pocket Camp to Pocket Camp Complete. The vast majority of things in your save file will be transferred. Your items, furniture, and materials are going to be preserved. Any bells and friendship levels are safe, as is your current level. You'll also find your saved outfits and layouts of your camper, campsite, and cabin will also transfer over to Pocket Camp Complete as long as you do these two things. In order to transfer your save file across when Pocket Camp Complete launches, you have to make sure that you've logged into Pocket Camp at least once between now and the 28th of November. If you haven't done this, the developers will not transfer your save, so if you want to make sure that you can still play in your current save file from the 3rd of December, make sure you download Pocket Camp and open it at least once. The other thing you need to double check is that your Pocket Camp account is linked to your Nintendo Online account, as this is where your save data is going to be stored ahead of the transfer. To be absolutely clear, this is not the same thing as having a Nintendo Switch Online account. I also got confused when I first saw this, but realized that what it actually means is just having an account to log into Nintendo. A good way to know if you have already done this is to check in Animal Crossing New Horizons if you also have access to a Switch. If you have the Pocket Camp items in ACNH, then you've already linked the two together. But if you aren't sure on how to do this or don't know if you have already done this, I'll leave a link in the description below with the details of how you link your two accounts together ahead of the online functionality disappearing. It's worth leaving a disclaimer here that not everything you have in your pockets will transfer over. Any Leaf tickets you've earned, Leaf ticket maps you've made progress on, and gifts you've earned will not transfer over. So if you are logging into the game anyway to make sure that you can transfer your save file over, it's worth making sure that you spend all of your Leaf tickets and give away any gifts so that you don't have to worry about these later. Also, if there's anything in your market box either sold or unsold, these will also not transfer over. So if you want to make sure you have everything sold, you need to move them back into your inventory and sell anything you have too much of instead of listing them in the market box. So if the core gameplay isn't changing, are there any major differences between Pocket Camp and Pocket Camp Complete? The biggest thing that is different is the removal of microtransactions and the subscription service in Pocket Camp. Because the developers are taking the app offline, the process of microtransactions isn't going to be possible. As a result, what the developers have done is add in new ways of earning rewards which don't involve you spending extra money. The biggest of these changes is the removal of Pocket Camp Club, which was the subscription service you had to pay monthly for. There were 3 plans in this which gave you exclusive access to items or features like extended storage. As this has been closed, what the developers have done is move the functionality of these plans into the base game, so now everyone can enjoy the perks of what was only available for those who paid extra for the service. This is a good thing for the community because it means that everyone will get to benefit from the development which was put into Pocket Camp, and I'm excited to see these available in Pocket Camp Complete. The other thing which has changed is Leaf tickets. Leaf tickets were the biggest microtransaction in Pocket Camp. You can earn them through regular gameplay as well, but the idea was that you paid extra for them. These could be used to unlock special areas like the quarry and to reduce the amount of time that you have to wait for items to be crafted. As I mentioned earlier, these are going to be removed from Pocket Camp completely, so you'll need to spend the ones you have left so that you get the value from them. However, they aren't being removed entirely. Instead, what is being brought in is a new currency called Leaf tokens. From what I can tell, these are going to work the same way as Leaf tickets do now. The only difference is that you'll earn these through regular gameplay only. There'll be no way to buy additional Leaf tokens. Whether or not the drop rate of Leaf tokens is increased so that you get more from each task to help you out with crafting and accessing new areas, we'll have to wait and see. But if this makes the game better, then I'm glad we're losing Leaf tickets, because even from trying the game more recently, I do think the drop rate is too low for them given all of the things you miss out on by not having enough tickets. Outside of the microtransactions and the subscription service, the biggest change in co-op gameplay is one I'm kind of surprised by, but also completely confused on. Given the online functionality is being removed, you would think that friends list would no longer be available and you wouldn't be able to play with friends, and well, the developers have done something rather interesting in this regard. You won't be able to play with anyone in your friends list online anymore or trade items with them. That has been 100% confirmed because the servers are being turned off. However, what is being introduced is a new way to kind of interact with your friends, and I'm using that loosely here. Instead of now adding friends into your friends list, you'll now be able to exchange these new things called camper cards to create a sort of friends list. These cards are a little thing you can customize in-game which show your character in a saved outfit, a favourite villager, and your current level. They come with a QR code and you'll be able to trade these with people you interact with online. By scanning in the QR codes of other players, you'll be adding them into a list of collected camper cards, and it's these that will give you access to friends in your game. Kind of. I've been calling the players that you see in Pocket Camp Complete from scanned camper cards Echoes because that's effectively what they are. There will be a new pass of the world called Whistle Pass, which is where you'll see these echoes of other players in the game, and when you speak to them, there is a possibility they'll give you gifts, and it looks like these are going to be in the form of materials or bells, and you can use these to get more items from crafting. There's also a new feature being added into Pocket Camp Complete for you to access, which is a KK concert hosted every evening after 7 PM. Any camper cards you've collected can result in players appearing at the concert for you to enjoy in the game, but the reveal trailer didn't show any real interaction between the different echoes that you've got in the game, which makes sense because there's no online play. But the only way to really get the most out of this experience is to have as many camper cards as possible. What was announced in the reveal trailer was that any friends you have in your friends list right now will be available as camper cards in Pocket Camp Complete, but only if both you and your friends have logged into Pocket Camp before the shutdown on the 28th of November. So if there's a specific friend that you want the camper card of and they haven't played for a while, it's worth giving them a nudge to download the game and log in so that you have access to their card and you can see them in the game. To be honest, it's this feature out of anything which makes me the saddest. Obviously, with the online functionality going down, it's not going to be possible to play online with friends, but not being able to have meaningful interactions with other players feels to me that the creation of Whistle Pass and the introduction of KK Slider concerts will just make this part of the game feel redundant very quickly without there being some benefits to collecting as many camper cards as possible. For now, we don't know what this is going to look like in the game, but when Pocket Camp Complete launches, we will know more about it. So now we know all of the details of Pocket Camp Complete and what it's going to look like, can we say this is a good update? Should you pre-order and pick up Pocket Camp Complete when it finally launches? Personally, I feel like this is an amazing thing for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp players. Not only will you be able to transfer your save file, but you'll actually be able to continue playing the majority of the game as you would have done in Pocket Camp. Microtransactions leaving the game and the perks of the subscription plans moving into the base game are amazing updates for Pocket Camp Complete, and I'm excited to see how these are introduced and how it all works with the new Leaf tokens as well. I've seen a lot of discourse on social media about Pocket Camp moving from a free-to-play model to a paid app, and I completely understand where those players are coming from. Yes, Pocket Camp Complete is going to be a paid game, but when you look at the cost of the game at its initial launch of $10, I don't actually think it's that bad. Under the current model, Pocket Camp is the cheapest Animal Crossing game that is active right now, and even when it moves into a paid app, it's still going to be the cheapest entry into the Animal Crossing franchise. If you're interested in just trying Pocket Camp Complete, it's going to be better to pre-order it or buy it during the initial testing period when it is cheaper. For the thousands of items and endless hours of gameplay, I personally think the price is not terrible for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete. I was personally worried that it would be $20 from the get-go, so I would definitely recommend that you pick it up while it is cheaper, even if you aren't too sure about whether or not you'll play it in the long term. The other good thing that's been confirmed by the reveal trailer is that this is not the end of updates for Pocket Camp. Even after Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete launches, the developers are going to support the game until September 2025. When you couple this with all of the updates and additional content that have come into Pocket Camp, it is the best thing Animal Crossing players could have hoped for. This is significantly better than the lack of promised updates to Animal Crossing New Horizons, which stopped the moment the 2.0 update launched. So if you want to play an Animal Crossing game which is still receiving updates, it's definitely worth trying Pocket Camp now before the new app launches. What I am sad about though is the lack of friend interactions we will have. Yes, the camper cards are nice and it's a good way to maintain a friends list of sorts in Pocket Camp Complete. I kind of feel that this is a bit of a waste, as after one or two interactions in Whistle Pass, you probably won't bother making your way over there to interact with the echoes of other players you've collected the cards of. On the whole though, I'm excited about the future of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, and I do think that Pocket Camp Complete is an exciting update to the Animal Crossing franchise, which is going to give players more options to play the game for years to come. If you want to know more about why I think this is a good step for Nintendo, you should watch this video next where I went through the initial announcement of Pocket Camp shutting down and speculated on what Pocket Camp could look like in a new app, and I'll see you over there.